Yes, it gets a bit tricky sometimes with some of these, but again, holding the V button down just to make sure that everything is in place. I'll admit, I'm a bit of a perfectionist when it comes to these sort of things. Just zooming right in here. I don't need to do much over here. Yep, those points seem absolutely nicely aligned there, so we're going to leave those, and we're just going to line all these lines up here. There we go, could be an arch happening here. Got a bit of a mishap happening over here though, which is a bit annoying, so I'm going to have to use the edge loop tool for this puppy again. Now if you notice you accidentally created an edge where it wasn't meant to be, and it's connected automatically to these, you can right click, go to edge, delete said edge, so it's nice and clean, and I'm going to use the interactive edge loop tool just to add those lines into there. So using the interactive tool we had before, it's putting up a bit of a fight. And there you go, you've just created the size of this. And what we're going to be doing next, we are going to be sorting out the bottom, and then we're going to duplicate this, ready for when we want to add this section on to the end later on, because if we zoom out a bit, we can see we've got this weird end shape there. So, before we can do anything, we've got to select the bottom and get that sorted out. So I'm just going to maneuver these down to the bottom here. And we're going to right click, right click on this and go to face, and very much like we did before, we're going to do the extruding. So I'm going to hit the extrude button here, world anchor, and what we're going to do, we're going to scale this out a bit. So I'm going to hit the scale tool and actually scale it out just a wee bit. You can sort of, it's difficult to see, you can sort of see the little lines there. You might find it easier just to move this down a bit to get that width, and then later on just holding down to the V button and snapping it back to there. We're quite happy with that, so we're going to hit the extrude button again, world anchor, well, world axis actually, let's keep saying anchor, so pull this down. And hitting the scale one again and just pulling that out. And there you go. You've just created the beginning of it. This will be a very good opportunity to save. So you go File, Save As. Now where's Save As? Usually at the top, Save As. And there's what I created earlier. Go and click on that. So I'm going to call it Archway 0.1 or 01. Save As. Oh, yeah, I'm replacing the existing one, so I'm going to click Yes, just for safe purposes. And since you're using the student version, letting you know, you have to press Continue. Yes, we are using the student version. So very quickly, we're going to duplicate this and then move it off to the side and ignore it for now. So I'm going to right click on this guy, go to Object Mode, and then I'm going to go to Edit, Duplicate, or Control and D. Using the Move tool, I'm just going to move this out of scene for a bit. So it's going to be sitting over there. I'm going to ignore it for a bit. Well, actually, we can get this. No, yeah, we'll ignore it for now. Just make things less complicated. So we've done that. So now what we need to do, we need to start mirroring our geometry. And it's a very easy way to do this. First of all, so that there's a place for it to join up, I need to delete the faces in here. So go right click on faces here and delete just these ones and hit delete. I'm holding shift so I can select them multiple. You can hold shift and select more than one, deselect it. So I'm going to press delete on my keyboard, so then that should be an empty hole there. Take this back into object mode. Wait, go click on this now to make sure it's selected. You may notice sometimes you get these weird lines selected. Do not worry about them. It's just sometimes a bit of a glitch that happens in Maya. So what we're going to do, we're going to sort out the mesh, we're going to duplicate, we're going to mirror the geometry of this. So we're going to go into Mesh, and there should be an option here, just having a look. Mirror geometry. We don't select this. We want to select the little box on the side, which allows us to see the options. Every little box you see is an option box to the tool. So we want mirror geometry. Click on the little box, and it brings up this lovely window here. Now, the one thing we don't want to happen is we don't want it to merge with the original, not just yet. So I'm going to click on that, and I'm also going to make sure it's minus X when it mirrors, so it's going to be minus the X-axis there, because the X is left and right of it, or the width as you like to think of it. So click Apply and Close, and you can see it's done a beautiful job right here. It's mirrored it lovely. So we got one big object here, nicely gelled together, and if we want to double check that is all correct, we can see here it fits beautifully for our model. Now if you find that yours is not aligned correctly, you might have to make a few steps back and follow this video again, because something has gone drastically wrong. So, or you may have to manually move the objects by the vertices and make sure they go together. But my recommendation would be to make sure that these go together. I don't know why that side view's gone a bit funny there, so I'm just going to select this window. If you find that one of your sides has gone a bit ski with, just select the window, hold the space button down, left mouse button, and drag, click on Maya and drag to the side. Whichever view. Huh, that's a bit odd. There we go, that's a bit better. Oh wait, that's gone to front view. What? Okay. Just turn that around till I get the view that I want. There we go, that's a bit better, so on the right side there. It's a bit funny. Not sure why that's happened. Sometimes, as I say, you get a glitch in Maya. Do not worry, just as long as you know how to fix it. So there we go. So that arch is fine. So we can turn our attention to this guy over here. So just pull this out a little bit. Now, what we want to do, we want to delete these sides, and then we can start merging this in. But before we do that, we've got to delete the faces here just so we can start gluing things together. A little quick glue job there. So I'm going to zoom into the side. I'm going to right click, holding it down, face. I'm going to select this one, that one, that one. Just keep going. So you got the side ones here, you don't have the top there. To show you what you got. Press delete on my keyboard. That's ready to have this guy. So I click on this one, right click, and select faces. And I can start deleting some faces until I get to the shape that I want. Just move this over here just so I can select the top ones here. Just by clicking and dragging, I'm selecting that top bit. Delete that. I can drag over here. Delete. Pressing delete. And we don't need these sections anymore, so delete those. And there you go. That's where you should be ending up with now. If not, go through this again. We don't want, make sure you don't have that little arch bit here, because that's already there. We don't need it again. So now I'm gonna, that's what's going wrong there. I'm gonna right click and go to object mode. Just gonna move this back into position, and I'm going to use the front view here just to move it neatly into there. Just moving it in a bit more. Yeah, that seems about right. So now what we've got to do, we've got to start moving the vertices back into position. Now we're going to be doing this by selecting the original, using this button over here. Now there's one really handy tool that's going to help us a lot with this. If we look over in our panel here, we've got this one. I've turned it off. That allows us to have our 3D shade, but there's this curious one over here with lines around it. It's wireframe and shading. If I turn that on, you can see I can now see the lines of this, which is really going to make things a lot easier for me. So now with my big arch selected, I can right click, go to vertices, select the vertices, and just snap them away. Oop, that didn't go so well there. Okay, we'll do it by, if it's going to be stubborn like this, I'm going to move tools there. That seems fine. Let's see if I can move this. There we go. I would say go X and Y, then you can't go wrong with there. And the same for these guys. I'm going to put the spacebar here, just so I can do the same here. So there we go. This will allow me to move. There we go. So that's lined up beautifully with that arch right there. So we can't really go wrong with this. So just going to do the same for this little guy up here. Holding V down just to make sure everything's snapped into place. There we go. So there we are. That's joined beautifully there. So now the final thing, the very final thing we're going to have to do, we're going to have to tell these two objects to become one single thing. So the easy way to do this is just to right click, select the object, click on this guy, well actually click on this one, click and shift on the arch there, go to mesh, combine. And this will combine it into one object. Now, do not be fooled by this, because if I were to go to the vertices, I do believe, yep, look at that, a hole. These are not been joined together, so we're going to have to manually go around these and just sort of glue the edges, ensuring that it's all glued together. So I'm going to do that in the perspective view. Just rotate around a bit. Oop. And we're going to use what's called the edge, I think it's the edge merge tool. Let's have a look. We go to edit mesh, let's have a look, merge edge tool, that's the one. So we click on this and also go to wireframe, which makes things a lot simpler, or press 4 on your keyboard. You can see we've got this. Actually, I'm going to turn off the V so I don't see the templates anymore. Makes the workspace not easy to work with. We see we've got a thicker line going around here. That's telling me that these edges are not glued together. The same for over here. Those are not been glued together. So I'm going to have to do quite a bit of gluing here. So if I click on this, it's then indicating with these purple arrows which edges I can put together. Well, I want it to be glued to that one. So if I double click, it's glued together. And I just keep going round until these edges start going thinner. You do this in a nice systematic way that you are happy with. Now be careful, I'm going to purposely make a mistake here just so you can see. Do not copy this. I've got that one and I've glued those together. I've made a mess. You Control Z and try again. Just keep clicking on the one line. Okay, those are not going together. Let's have a look. Just keep clicking on the one line till it goes thin. And there you go, you've got that part saved. So we've got to sort out the middle here. And there we go, because the merge edge tool is the last one I used, or we click on this icon here, they both do the same thing. I go over here and make sure these so just frantically double clicking helps. There we go. So you should have fairly thin lines there. So there's your model. Not too shabby really. So the next thing we're going to have to do, just to really bring this to life and make it fit for a game, is to bring in the textures. Oh, I clearly forgot, there's one bit of detail we forgot to add. So it's going to bring in the template. Now just very quickly, I'm just going to look at the side here. If we look at the image there, we've got a bit of a pull out at the side there. So I also want to pull out these sections of the arch as well. So I'm going to go into my select view, or I select a tool, or you can press V on your keyboard. Right click, go to face. I'm going to select these faces. I'm going to try and see, can I select them? I'm going to select this one, select the end one and double click. The only problem is it goes all the way around, so that's not what I want. So I'm just going to have to do this. Do a bit at a time there. I'm cheating a little bit by double clicking. There we go. And I also want to get these guys over here. Just double check I haven't accidentally selected any others. And also we want to get these ones over here. So I'm just holding Shift and selecting them individually. If you do make a mistake and oops, I select that bit, just hold it and click on it again. It deselects automatically. And what we're going to do, we're going to hit the extrude tool. Axis there. I'm just going to pull these out slightly. I'm going to switch to the side view. Just zoom in a bit here. And we can see that we've got the side. I can just pull these out a bit there. I'm just judging on the side there. There we go. Quite happy with that. then go to Object. There we go. Quite happy with that arch there. Looks the business. So now what we've got to do is apply a texture to it. So we're going to have to use something called apply UV mapping. And this is the very finishing touch of this. Now this can get rather tricky, so you may have to bear with me on this one. But what we're going to do, we're going to assign the front surface to the front of the image of the textures. So this will make absolutely sense in a moment. So what we're going to have to do, we're going to have to select the surfaces of this. So going into the front view here, I am actually I'm just going to click on this guy, and I'm going to hold Shift and select this element here. So we're going to need this back panel. So with that selected, I'm going to go into create UVs and go to panel mapping and click the option box here. Remember the option box right here, you go click on it and it will bring up this window. Now we want to project from the x-axis. So if can I move this? Yes I can. So the x-axis going to the front. So we're going to click on that and project. At the moment we haven't got a map there to select this object. So I'm going to click and select the object, and I'm going to go over into Hypershade. It's this little icon down here. I'm going to go into here and hold spacebar. We'll slam the spacebar there. Now we have our previous. Can you zoom into these? Okay, we can't. But here, remember this little guy? He's our template, the one we created earlier. So if I go into Attribute Editor, you can click on this up here, or you can click on Attribute Editor there. Here we have that template that we created before. We want to make a duplicate of this and use a different texture. So with this one selected, the template laminate, we'll go to File, Edit, Duplicate, Shading Network. We want to do the whole thing. So I'm going to click on that, and it brings in this guy, and I'm going to call this template. Actually, I'm going to call this texture. And then I'm going to click on, over here we've got color, but instead of the checkered box we've got this one telling us that it's linked to another file. So I'm going to click on this, and we're going to change this from grit, I'm going to change it to stone, and then click on the folder icon here, and open up the map of this. So there's the top view of what we want. So open. Okay, let's try that again. There we go. If it doesn't work, try again. So there we go, that's what we want. So I'm going to press space on my bar here. I'm going to select my stone. And then with this texture selected, I'm going to highlight over it and assign to material selection. And we can see here that the front of it has been covered by the stone texture. Now we've got a bit of a problem. I'm going to go into the perspective view. I'm going to turn off Attribute Editor here. So we just have our channel controls, and we can see here the front is absolutely perfect. However, the sides, they've become stretched. That's a right pity. So what we are going to do, we're going to try and select some of the sides here and assign them to the correct size. So I'm going to press space on my keyboard. Can I go to the full views? I'm going to click on the full views icon here, because that's the one I want to work with. And here we go, we've got the side. Going to hit my spacebar over this to enlarge it. Now this can get really tricky if done incorrect, so please pay attention. If you do get into any hassle, please just repeat this. You can always Control Z. So I'm going to zoom right in. Now remember those extra detail that we extruded earlier? I want to select these and stop when I'm about to hit this here, because I don't want to select this. I want to select it when I'm selecting the whole length of it. So I'm going to right click, go to Faces, and I'm going to hold Shift, drag down a very thin line, stopping before this line here, making sure the side parts are selected. I'm going to then pan out, hold Shift again, and near the top I'm going to click and drag another line down near the bottom. Now if I press my spacebar, and have a look at my selection, we can see majority of it has been selected, but it's missed out a few pieces here and there. So I'm just going to have to go into the perspective view and make sure all the correct sides are selected. This can take a little bit of time, but it's certainly well worth it. So I'm going to go into... There we go. I just clicked off the texture icon there, so I just have it in normal view. So I can just select these side bits here. For some reason it's not selected these ones here, so... And I don't want the top bits here. Just going to deselect the top here. I'm holding down Shift to do this. Oop. It does take a bit of fiddling around getting used to. Yeah, those... See, fine, I got the bits that I wanted. Now it's going to make sure I get these side parts. Also, not forgetting these little parts here. Just have another scope around. No, missed bits here. Here. There we are. That looks about right to me. I missed a couple of sections there as well. So there we go. Those are the sections I wanted to... Actually, I'll select these ones as well. I'll admit I am a bit of a perfectionist. I do fuss over little details, but if something is worth doing well, especially when you create your own models, your own architecture, you should be able to spend a little bit of time on it. So there we go, the right parts are selected. So now back into texture mode. I'm going to hold Shift and select this side bit here. Now this can get a little bit tricky, so again, bear in mind, take your time with this. I'm going to go to Create UVs. Again, going into Panel Mapping and the little option box there. Now this time I want to go along X, because X is the side part there. Click Project, and we notice that we get this weird box that has gone thinner. That's not really going to help. So click and drag and make this larger, pull it to the side, because remember we've got this side bit here and it's gone rather small as well, which is a bit disappointing. So I'm going to have to drag the top icons here, increase the height of it, and just constantly twerk it around until you move it into position. I just remembered something. Remember those planes over here that we used? They're about 24. We can select this and then go to width and height, type in 24, and it'll be the exact same height that we've been working off. So I can move this into position, making sure that I get all the parts just right. I'll admit I'm using my eye on this. There we go. That looks a lot healthier. Got a bit of a stretch here and there that I'm not quite happy with underneath. I don't think anyone's going to really notice that too much. You could play around with this, tweak it up a bit more. I'm okay with that. We could actually make this a bit better. We're going to have another go at this, but this time along the y-axis. I'm going to hold, select, and go to the face tool. I'm going to select these bottom faces. I'm actually going to select these ones as well, going all the way down. Oop. To here. I'm quite happy. Am I happy with that stretched? No, I'm not. I'm gonna... Nope. That will allow me to double click. That's really annoying that I can't double click those. Oop. That does really annoy me that you have these stretched parts here. So I'm just selecting these very quickly. If you've got the texture provided and you spent time on it, you don't want to waste it. So just make sure these bits, the entire arch there is selected. Do we need to deal with the top? Yes, we do, because that just looks bad. I say if you're going to do something right, you should do it well. We can get these sections as well. Let's make them look. It will take time to get these just the way you like them. So any sections where you see these weird speedy lines, select them. I'm going to do the bottom here as well. That's when the texture has been stretched and looks a bit rubbish, to be honest, and we can do better. So I'm just switching between Alt and Shift. Alt to move my mouse, move my camera view, and Shift to select the extra areas. Almost finished. We've got the hard parts done. Just select the top ones here, as well as here. Mapping and things like that, getting the textures to fit, not always an easy thing to do. So if you're getting fed up, well, tough. You've got to do this if you want to create a good model. So there we go. We've got the mapping there, all done. I'm quite happy with that. So we're going to select Create UVs, Panel Mapping, and again select the option box. And we go along the Y-axis and project. And with this selected again, I'm going to click and highlight the projectile width and height, making sure the channel is selected there so that this is open. Type in 24, and then simply move this round. There it is. Until that looks just right. So I may want to move it. Actually, I'm quite pleased with that. So there we go. I'm just going to turn off the background ones. Go to object mode. Turn off the wireframe there, and wow. it was certainly... Oh no. Just realised we forgot this guy over here. Oh, that is annoying. I'm going to click that face there. If you notice one of these, just simply click the face and think of the axis working in. This one's X. Project. Oop. Make sure that's 24. And oh, it's a side one, isn't it? It's a bit difficult. There's the arch. There's the side. Oh, let me just go up a little bit. I mean, I'm doing this by eye. You can probably do a lot better than me. Oh, no, a bit white there. That's just going to annoy me. Ah, just a bit white again there. I'll admit, I am a bit of a perfectionist. Ooh. Ah, that'll do. You can probably tweak it up, spend a bit more time making sure these edges are covered. But yeah, in essence, that is the model. You can see the detail of this. This is absolutely amazing for your first model that you can bring into a game. We've got the arch. Ooh, forgot that one down there, but don't worry. As you saw, I can easily add it again and tweak it up. But yeah, that is your arch. And if you ever want to do a render of this, what you've got to do is click on the rendering tab here, click on this icon, and it'll just render the current scene, or render it. And there you go, there's your image. It may not be a large one, but it'll certainly do it. So there you go. There is your game arch. So hopefully you enjoyed this tutorial and found it very useful. And see you again next time.